guys? It's Caleb Maddix, and you're listening to the Brand Domination Show with AJ Adams.
Well, Caleb, I appreciate you being on the show, and I'm excited to jump in. So much to talk about. I know we're not going to cover it all, but we're going to give a ton of value, and I appreciate you being on. So I want to start out, you're in a space right now where I remember when I first found you, I was like, who is this kid all over speaking, and how you had a YouTube video about speaking for 10 grand and you closed the deal in like 4 minutes. I was like, who is this kid? But the crazy thing is, what I feel like you're doing, because the more I watched, when I looked into it, I was like, this is not a gimmick. He's legit. He's building a real business. He's got actual value. And you can hear someone when they're just kind of reiterating what they've been taught as opposed to actually understanding it. And that's what I got from you. Like, okay, he actually knows his stuff. And then I thought to myself, you know what he's really doing? He's redefining what the word kid means. Because you've got all these young entrepreneurs that I see around you at your events, Maddix Publishing, which we'll talk about, but you're really redefining just the whole concept of being a kid. I mean, you're 16 now, 16 or 17?
16, still 16.
So when I was 16, I was trying to figure out, what my personal style was. I wasn't thinking about building an empire. So talk about that, man. What is it that got you in that space where you just dominating?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words, and I love what you said in the beginning of. At first, you thought, or you said it. You thought I was kind of a gimmick, or whatever. You found out that I'm not just a gimmick. I know what I'm talking about, and it's not just regurgitation. And the reason I love that is because that's one of my favorite comments to get on social media is when people, type, this kid's just a gimmick, or his dad's feeding him with, what to say.
Right.
I love getting that because I'm always like, all right, we'll see in 10 years if I'm a gimmick. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll see. Like, give me 10 years. Just give me 10 years. All right? Call me a gimmick now. Wear a t-shirt that says Caleb is a gimmick. But I guarantee you in 10 years, you'll be wearing a t-shirt with my face on it saying you're a Maddix addict. So I'll
be hitting you up for a job.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying, right? You're going to be hitting up for the job. But so, first of all, how did I get to where I am? I think where it all started that got me into this mindset. And I love what you said about redefining what it means to be a kid. Because honestly, that's one of the number one missions that I'm on. I'm about to go on a tour, speaking at a whole bunch of schools. And that's what I want to do, is I want to redefine what it means to be a kid. Being a kid doesn't mean you're not working towards a goal. Being a kid doesn't mean that you're not growing. Being a kid doesn't mean that you're lazy and that you play video games and that, you just goof off. Yeah. Being a kid means that you're growing into the adult you want to be. Yes, have fun along the way. Yes, enjoy your childhood. And I do. And I play sports and have friends and all sorts of stuff. But honestly, to me, my number one enemy is the word average. Yeah. Average is what I hate. So first of all, I commend you for saying that I'm redefining what it means to be a kid, because that's my goal. I want to redefine and tell people, hey, having a childhood doesn't just mean you're just not doing anything. Definitely. Having a childhood means you're growing into the person you want to be. So as far as where it all started is, luckily I was blessed to have the greatest dad on the face of the earth. And that's one of the things that motivates me, is I know there's so many kids out there that wasn't able to have the dad that I have. And that's why I want to be a role model that they can look up to, not be their father, but be a figure that they can look up to, take advice from, and learn from. But it all started when I was 7 years old, and I went over to a friend's house. And I shared this video on Facebook. It had over 250,000 shares from people, reached over 40 million people, because this story is so powerful when you can grasp the concept. And now so many parents are doing this. But when I was 7 years old, I was at a friend's house, and I was sitting on the couch. We were watching some show. And my friend's mom walked up to him and tapped him on the shoulder. My friend turned around, looked at the mother, and the mom handed him this green piece of paper with the number 20 on it. And it was a $20 bill.
Yeah.
So I was sitting here, and I was like, $20. Like, as a kid, $20 is a lot of money. And I was like, what did he do to get this? So as soon as his mom walked out the room, I asked him, I was like, dude, what did you do to get that $20? And he told me that he did these things called chores. And anytime he would take out the trash or do the dishes or, do this, if he did it every single month, at the end of the month, he would get $20 for doing his chores. And I immediately was ticked off. I started thinking, I've been doing chores at home, but my dad hasn't been giving me $20 for it. I've been taking out the trash. I've been doing the dishes. I've been doing this stuff, but I'm not getting paid for it. So as soon as I got back from hanging out with my friends, saw my dad, and the first thing I said to him, I gave him a hug, said I loved him for a second, because we've always had a very tight bond. But then I immediately looked at him as an angry little 7-year-old and said, Dad, I've been doing chores and haven't been getting paid for it. Why is that? I want to start getting paid to do chores. And he looked at me and said something that changed my life forever. One word that got me to where I am. One word that allowed me to be a self-made millionaire by 16. One word that allowed me to impact the people I've been able to impact. He said one word, and that word was no. He told me no. He said, no, I'm not going to pay you to do chores. And I immediately was so disappointed, so angry, thinking, why do my friends get paid to do chores, but I can't? He said, Caleb, I'm not going to pay you to do chores because you're not going to get paid for that when you're older. You're going to have to take out the trash. You're going to have to do the dishes. That's just a part of life. So why would I pay you to do chores? He said, but what I will do is I'm going to pay you for what you're going to get paid for when you're older. And that's the books that you read. And from that point forward, my dad started paying me $20 for every single success book that I would read and write a report on. And because my dad did that, I honestly believe that's why I am where I am today, because I started thinking, okay, if I want $20, I got to read success books. So first book I ever read was The Success Principles. Got that book in my hands. And my dad started giving me all these sales books and all these business books and all these books that were teaching me things. So I started reading these books, and the information that I learned in those completely shifted my mindset. It's honestly put me and allowed me to become the person that I am today and do the things I've been able to do. It all started from those books that I read and the things that I learned. So I encourage a lot of parents out there, if there's any parents watching this, understand the number one thing you can teach your kid is them wanting to learn. The number one thing you can instill in your kid is a hunger to learn, because the person that's hungriest to learn will always be fed the most results. Hungriest to learn, be fed the most results. So that's honestly what propelled me to get to where I am today. That was the start. That's what helped me to not be so average, not be this. All my friends, when they were playing video games, I was reading books. When they were riding their bike, I was writing books. It was those little things that I would say got me to the place that I've been. And I was extremely blessed to have a dad that had the intuition to do that in that moment.
Right. That's awesome, man. I'll tell you what, that was how long ago when you posted that video?
I would say that was like a year and a half ago, I think it was. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And here's an interesting thing. So I have a daughter. She's 14. She just started high school last week, and most parents would freak out, but I've been preparing her, so it was encouraging. And I have her read books, so I do the same thing. I pay her to read books. Like, you read this book on personal branding. She's read Power of Broke, Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed to Be Average, 10X Rule, Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. She got paid like $100 for that because it's a pretty heavy book. But what inspired it was I saw that video. So through parents watching this, take it from another parent, I saw that video and I was like, okay, I like that. So I totally stole it. Tell your dad I stole that from him. I'm using it and it works. So she's reading books. That's awesome. She's going to be an entrepreneur, but that's awesome. And you said something I think is really important, especially not just for parents raising kids, but people in general, entrepreneurs especially, is that one word, no. Like, where we live in a society where people don't like to hear no. They expect to hear yes just because you're special and mom says you're a unicorn and you're a snowflake or whatever, which is not true. Yeah. And I'm quoting one of my favorite shows, The Office, and there was a scene.
The Office, I love it.
Yep, where one of the characters said she said to another character, Nellie said to I think it was Robert California. And if you don't know what that is, people watch the show. You're missing out.
You gotta check it out. The Office, man. That's one of my things like that I do to separate myself from the business. I'll turn on an episode of The Office. I vibe with that. That's
every episode. I've watched the whole show like 12 times or more. But she kept saying no. He was like, get out of this office. You're not the manager. Get out. No. And then he told her, if you say no one more time, and she said, why don't you try it? Because then when you say yes, it's so much sweeter. And people don't realize all the adversity, all the times you're told no, that's what makes winning so awesome. That's why people who started with nothing or really had to grind, like yourself, like me, to build success, you respect it more and you stay humble because you had to work for it. You appreciate it when you had to fight for it. So I love that. No chores. Yeah. Don't get paid for chores. Get paid for reading books. Gotta.
And I think, real quick, I think there was a principle right there too. most people think that you can only learn from books and from mentors and from billionaires and all that stuff, but you can literally learn from every area in life. Like the fact you watch The Office and picked up on that,
True.
you're using that. Like I feel like there's so many principles all around us that literally that we let pass up every day. So the fact that I got a community for that. And second thing, I think that's also the truth, and I'm glad you highlighted that about the no. And I feel like that's another reason why I am where I am is because my dad didn't raise me to be soft. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of the kids, my age, and I'm not knocking them. There's a lot of parents that do it right, but the far majority, they raise their kids to be soft. They get their instant gratification right away. They want, if they want to eat something unhealthy, they get it right away. My dad, whenever I was growing up, he used to buy a donut for me every Friday, and he would set it on the dashboard when we'd buy it. We'd go to Publix, we'd get it after school, right after school on Friday at 3 p.m. He'd pick me up, get this donut, and he would set it down right on like the dashboard and just leave it there until we got home. And then I'd get home, and he would take the donut, he'd walk it upstairs and set it on the counter. And he would not let me eat that donut until 7 that night. So I had to wait 4 hours just to eat the donut that he had bought 4 hours previously. And the reason why he would do that is because he knew that I would constantly be walking by it. And I have to see it. I would know, I want that donut. I want to try it. I want to do it. But what he wanted to teach me was that you don't get what you want right away. There's discipline. Just because you want something doesn't mean that's the thing that you have to get. And it's like Nick Saban says, discipline is choosing between what you want and what you want more.
Yeah.
And that's like the truth of something my dad's always taught me is I may have wanted that donut, but I wanted health more. I may have wanted that donut, but I wanted to learn discipline more so that I can have success long term. And throughout my entire life, my dad was saying, yes, you want that. You want a donut. You want an ice cream. You want to play video games. You do. You want it. But what do you want more? Do you want that or do you want success? Do you want that or do you want to be happy? Do you want that or do you want to be healthy? And he constantly taught me that principle. And I feel like that's another reason why I am where I am today. So yes, that's so true. Using that word no, and it doesn't mean my dad's the most encouraging, fun guy you'll ever meet. We went to more baseball games. We went to more sporting events. We did more things. We went to more theme parks. We had more fun than any other father-son on the face of the earth. But within that, he would always teach me and making sure I was disciplined and making sure I had the right character. Because he was always telling me, he'd always say, talent and luck can take you to the top, but hard work and character will keep you there. And he was very focused on instilling that hard work and character in me.
Talent and luck can take you to the top, but hard work and character will keep you there. I love that. And you said something that I've heard you say before, I think in one of your videos, you talked about opportunity and how people stay poor because they pass over opportunity repeatedly.
Yep.
So talk about that for a second. What are some of the key opportunities that have come your way that you've taken advantage of? Because I honestly believe that, and I grew up on I dropped out of high school in like a year and a half after I started, got a GED, I dropped out of college. So I didn't come from advantage. My parents were broke, but I had a lot of opportunities. And I feel like, honestly believe that everyone has opportunities that come their way. Most people just don't see them because they're not looking, and they don't take them when they do see them because they don't believe they can. So what are some of the key opportunities that you've had that you jumped on? Because you've had some really incredible things happen. I mean, early on.
Yeah. So I think that's true. And I did that video one time and I talked about that. The video was titled Why You Were Poor. And I wasn't talking about financially because there's people, I understand that. What I was talking about when I said why you were poor is I was talking about being poor in health, in wealth, in relationships, in your happiness. Like so many people live poor lives for one reason. And that is they pass over opportunities repeatedly. That's what poor stands for, in my opinion. Pass over opportunities repeatedly. And I feel like so many people, the ones that wake up on Monday mornings, they're like, oh, it's Monday. Those type of people, those are the ones, in my opinion, that are poor because they're passing over the opportunity of life. They wake up and they say, just because I may not be in my dream situation, I hate my life. The ones that win, the successful people, and the most importantly, the most fulfilled people are the ones that can find opportunities even when it may seem like there aren't any. And that's what I did. I remember, whenever I was 13, one of the things that I did that I feel like propelled me forward was I realized I literally, I had a phone since a young age, and that was one of the things my dad actually did that most parents don't do. My dad did a lot of things most parents would disagree with. He got me a phone extremely early on because my dad knew that a phone would be a large part of life going forward. And he wanted to teach me, number one, the discipline of using it, not being on it 24/7 and all that, but then also being able to leverage it. And I remember one time I was sitting there at 13 And I was holding my phone in my hand. And I started thinking to myself, I can literally reach any human being I want with this device. Any person.
Yeah.
If I want to get a hold of Oprah right now, I can contact somebody from her office. I mean, I get it to her directly, but I now, at 13 years old at the time, have an opportunity to reach any person I want. I can do a video right now, and 5 million people can see it, 3 people can see it, but human beings are going to see what I put out. And I realized at 13, and I realized that I have one of the most insane opportunities in the history of mankind. So I started putting out content. So I started doing videos on social media. I started realizing, you know what, if I have this tool, and if I'm not going to use it, it's like sitting there and complaining that you don't have, a building when you have a crane right here. You have all these tools.
Right.
You have the tools here. It's time to take the opportunity, use them, and actually create what you want. So I started putting out these videos, and I reached people. That's how I got in Arnold Schwarzenegger's house. That's how I got interviewed by Grant Cardone. How I shared the stage with Tony Robbins. How I met Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham. How I had videos with 40 million people reach. How I made hundreds and $100,000 just directly from social media alone. It all started for me just looking at my phone and saying, this is an insane opportunity and I need to take it. And so many times in life, we have all these opportunities. We look at things negatively, but when in reality, 90% of the time, the negative things that happen in our life, there's positive outcomes that we could have. That if we just look close enough, we'll find it. Yeah. So I feel like if you want true abundance of health, abundance of wealth, abundance of happiness, then it's time to start looking for opportunities each and every single day and maximizing those.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you said, because I've talked to so many people, I've been in the space as well, where you feel like you don't have enough resources. And Damon John, in his book, The Power of Broke, talks about this concept that being broke actually makes you better. And in our business, and, when I started as a speaker and then partnering with Burnt Omen and, going from having $6 in my pocket to managing $100 million brands, it wasn't because we had resources. It's because, well, number one, everyone has the most important currency in business, which is relationship. You can build relationship, you invest in that all day. And that's why we're on this interview. We connected on social media, I don't know how long ago, and it's just random here and there. So, but there's something there. You can invest in that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look at what they do have. They look at, well, I can't do anything. I don't have money. I don't have knowledge. And there's really no excuse now to not get the education, because you can go to YouTube. People like you are putting out content all the time. Here's how you make sales. Here's how you reach people. So you use what you have. And then you said something also, you talked about reaching more people, getting attention. And I want to touch on that for a second, because you spent a lot of time reaching people, and you said you've made $1 million or $100,000 just from social media. Probably a lot more than that now, but when you did hundreds of thousands of dollars just from social media. What is it that people are getting wrong? So say you're talking to the CMO of a big company, big brand. What are they not getting about how to market, how to use social media that you obviously are getting, because you're killing it?
They focus on the second word of social media rather than the first one. I feel like that's honestly what most people do wrong.
Say that one more time. Say it one more time, because people don't get that.
Yeah. They focus on the second word of social media rather than the first one. They focus on the media part of it rather than social media. They think of it as, oh, this is a great way to sell my product, or this is a great way to become famous, and they think of it as media, but what they don't realize, all it is just a place where human beings are at. And I feel like that's why I won early on social media, is because I literally just treated social media as if it's regular life, but I can reach a lot more people through it. So I started putting out, and that's the thing, so many people, what they do is they're honestly, what it comes back to, in my opinion, is intention. Their intentions are off. Their intention is just to make money. Their intention is just to get well known. Their intention is just to meet Arnold Schwarzenegger or meet somebody of that nature. But my intention truly in the beginning was, this is a place where I can get my message out there. I'm going to sit here and provide more value than anybody else on social media. And if I can do that, I know it's going to pay off. So I had slow growth. I wasn't thinking I want millions of followers. I was thinking I want to deeply connect with 100 people.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. And that's where people get it wrong. All these CEOs start accounts and they want millions of followers. And all these people, they complain because they don't have millions of followers. The truth is, they're not willing to do what I did in the beginning, which is my first ever 120 followers got a direct personal message from me. I went through every one of them on Instagram, my first 120 followers, and sent them a personal video from me thanking them for following me, saying their name personally, letting them know if they need anything from me, they can ask, and that I'm looking forward to growing with them, growing my account, putting out more content, and then being a part of the community. And I did that, and I swear, those 120 people, just because I did that, that's one of the number one reasons why I took off, is because they started telling their friends, "Oh, look at this kid. You know, he sent me a personal message." They would share that. They would. It's the social part of social media, not the media part. Don't think of media as, how should I edit this? How should I do this? It's the social part. It's connecting with people. It's caring about people. It's putting out valuable stuff. And here's what I've learned. If you look at all the top people on social media, you look at the Gary V's and you know, the Grant Cardones, and even some of the like the comedians and stuff like that. There's only one thing that the top have in common compared to all of the rest. And that is that they put out more valuable pieces of content than anybody else. They like to do what I like to call it a three-word thing. Two words. They out content the rest.
Yeah.
Out content them. You look at someone like Gary Vee. People wonder, how does this guy have 6 million followers on this and 12 million followers here? How is he so big? The truth is, nobody else puts out as much videos, as much photos, as much articles as he does with valuable information inside of them. And because he does that, he wins. Look at somebody like, you know, one of my friends, Jake Paul. Look at Jake Paul. He has millions of subscribers. I think it's over 16 million followers just on YouTube now. And on Instagram, he has over 15 million. Like, he has insane growth. And I look at him, you know why he won? Because he put out more funny videos, which is a form of value. He put out more funny videos more often than everyone else.
Yeah.
You can put out more valuable stuff more often, you win. And I feel like that's why someone like Jake won. Every single day for over 400 days, he put out a YouTube video. And someone over here that does one YouTube video a week is complaining, how does Jake Paul have so many? He's lucky. He's this. He clickbaits. No. The reason why he's beat you is because he's put out more than you. The reason why he has more followers than me, he's put out more than me. And that's life. So if you want to win, put out more valuable stuff more often. Focus on that social part, not just the media part. Focus on value, connecting with people. And when you do that, you will win on social media every day of the week. But it's about doing that consistently, often, and just being there. You got to get to the place where someone says, you know, I get these messages all the time. People will say, Caleb, you know, I hated you before, but I couldn't stop seeing your face on Facebook. And because of that, I guess I like your page now. And I guess I'm a Maddix fan. Get to that place where your haters start to like you just because they become so familiar with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And and a couple really key things you said there. You know, people are saying, well, I can't put out content. I don't know what kind of content to put out. And you said how comedy is a form of value. And that's a really important piece. You know, I've talked about before how social media, when brands started advertising, it took away the social and it was just media. And you reiterated that, which is awesome. And then brands need to put out value. And a lot of people don't understand what value is when it comes to content. And one of the things that I teach the clients we work with is that there's 4 categories. There's the funny and entertaining. There's the inspirational, motivational, the educational, informational, and then the tactical and the actionable. If you create content that fits into any one of those categories, you're creating value, because it's all based on what can people do with it, what can it help them do. Will Smith even said, when he was asked, why do you make all these blockbuster movies? Why do you love what you do? He said, because someone can be going through the worst place in life, the worst season of life, and they go watch one of my movies, and it completely changes their perspective. For just that 1.5 hours, life is better.
And real quick, first of all, I love what you said, but what you just said right there is so true. Like Will Smith, that being his motivation, that's one thing I found when it comes back to all successful people. I've never met one of them, not one of them, that their motivation did not have something to do with impacting and influencing people.
Yeah. Never
met him. Literally, you look at, like, I asked Jake Paul that. I said, Jake, what is your ultimate motivation? He's like, there could be some kid who's sitting there thinking about killing themselves and watching one of my videos. It's going to lift them up. That could be their only thing they look forward to throughout the day. Look at me. Why do I put out videos? Because I know there could be someone who's about to kill themselves, and after me saying one quote, it changes them. Or somebody who's spiraling down the wrong path in their career or whatever it may be. I say one thing. They watch one video. The message I've gotten literally blows my mind. You look at someone like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Will Smith, like all these people, they all have that goal of impacting people. And it's like Tony Robbins said, success leaves clues. So if you look at successful people and they all have one thing in common, that's a pretty big clue that success is trying to show you that happiness is trying to show you, that fulfillment trying to show you of, hey, you want to win. If you want to have results, it's very simple. Care about people. Look at the background of my phone. Here, let me get rid of my notifications. Here we go. Look, background of my phone right now. What's it say? They're still up. Hold on. I gotta show this. I gotta show this note because it's something I'm passionate about. Ready? Here we go. Let's see if I can turn down the brightness. This is worth it. Trust me. Love people. I know it's backwards, but love people. And that's it. That's my motto right there. I've had a ton of different things. I've had money as my background before, trying to motivate me. And I've had my vision board there. I changed it. And now it's just plain simple. Love people. And that's it. You love people, you'll win. People love people that love people.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I want to come back to that. I want to mention one thing real quick, but I'll come back to that because you got me thinking, like on the content part, and this all ties together. So on the content, a lot of people, they'll look at you, haters and naysayers. Well, this kid, he's 16 and he's just blown up. I mean, his daddy's helping him, all this, whatever. They don't realize that. And I Googled you. This was a while ago when I first found. I was like, who is this? Because I'm always anybody who's on the come up. I'm always looking like, where did they start? What was the story? What was the journey? I don't care about the success. What's the journey? And I remember finding. I was trying to look for your website and I couldn't find it. So I Googled and I found an old website, like way back in the day. That's still up there. And I was like, he's been making content since preschool, and that's what people don't realize. Like you've been making content for so many years, which is why your content is so good now and still getting better every day. So people, you got to create content, put in the time. I've been creating content for 6 years now. My older content is embarrassing, but you got to start somewhere. And then the other part is you talked about having a model, love people. My personal, and I've seen this with really successful people, they tend to have a model. They break it down for themselves, something like a mantra they can repeat. So yours is love people. Grant Cardone's is, 10X or who's got my money, whatever it is. And then mine personally is help people, get rich, give generously. Because I believe it happens in that order. You help people, make an impact, you'll get rich, and then so that you can give generously. So I love that. So what's what are some of the things that people in this journey, what's next? Where do you want to go? What's the vision for, you've got Maddix Publishing, you've got your speaking, you've got your content. What's the empire? What's the vision that your dad, your team are building?
Well, we got some stuff behind the scenes that I can't even tell you about yet. But I'll tell you this. I don't even have to tell you because you'll know about it soon. That's all I'll put it to you. So big stuff in the works. As far as my vision, here's what I know. There's one thing I'll constantly be doing, and that's there's one word that drives me, and that's freedom. Freedom straight up is the thing that fuels me till death. So I know that throughout my entire life, I'll be striving for complete and utter freedom in two ways. Number one, freedom for myself. I don't want to be 20 and be looking for a job. I want to be 20 and be providing the jobs.
Yeah.
So I want freedom, like I want financial freedom. So I know that, by the time I'm 30, I believe I'll be a billionaire. Like that's just straight up. Watch it happen. It's going to unfold like that. That's it. But that's not my only motivation. Like that's just like a fun thing. And I know that if you look at someone like Bill, that's what I'm saying. People can hate on money and say, well, that's wrong to want to be a billionaire. You should just want that. Bill Gates, look at someone like him. He's a multi-billionaire. He's done more himself to influence people and impact people with his money than some countries have. Yeah. And that's the type of wealth I want. Not just wealth of like, I built a company. How cool is that? But like a wealth where at any moment I can help somebody, any person, I can immediately change their entire circumstances of life. So that's number one, freedom for number one, myself, but number two, freedom for other people. I know that ultimately everything that I do is to provide more freedom to people. So you look at my publishing company that my dad and I own, Maddix Publishing. With what we do there, where we publish people's books, promote them, help blow up, my ultimate motivation is I know there's people that are stuck in their dead-end job. I know there's people that have an insane message that they want to share with the world. And without having our help and without us helping them blow up their book and build their brand and build their speaking empire, they might not be able to make that happen. So I know that with Maddix Publishing, we're helping these people achieve the ultimate freedom of doing what it is that they love. And most importantly, here's the coolest part about Maddix Publishing to me, is not only are we changing the authors' lives, but the books that they're writing are changing thousands and thousands of lives. So the ripple effect of what we do in Maddix Publishing, literally, it excites me every single day. Because I think, someone we just recently had, they wrote a book and their son passed away when he was 20 years old. And they wrote a book about their story. And to see some of the people that have reached out and said like, I lost my kid, and after reading this book, it gave me hope. And it's like, think about the freedom there. And then you think about, like Julian Alfaro, little Julian Alfaro, the elementary entrepreneur. He wrote a book, and he's 8 years old, wrote this book. He just got interviewed by Ryan Seacrest. He's been, he's blowing up his book. And all the kids who read his book called The Elementary Entrepreneur, they're all starting businesses. So to see that, so for me, like my motivation, my actual posting comes back to the same thing as freedom. So I know where I'm going to be, what's my plan, continue to grow that so that we can help more people be free. But then also my ultimate vision personally is I know that I want to be a role model in America for millions, really the world. I want to be a role model for the world to millions and millions of kids. And that's my ultimate motivation. And that's the ultimate thing I'm working towards. That's why we're going to be doing tours in schools. I'm going to be trying to get my programs into schools. We have a couple big events planned. But like I said, there's a lot going on that we can't really release yet because we're working out different details. But to me, my ultimate motivation, ultimate plan is to get to a place where I'm well known by millions and millions of people, A-list celebrity, but it's not A-list to be like, a cool actor or something. I want it to be where there's kids that look up, and instead of just looking up to maybe, a fun YouTuber, they look up to me, somebody who's impacting people so that they do the exact same thing. And I know, like I said, because I have such an amazing dad, I almost want to be a figure for other kids to look up to who maybe didn't have the greatest parents, maybe didn't have that guidance.
Awesome.
I want them to be able to look to me to be their motivation and to help them feel to live their life as well. Freedom is my ultimate motivation. I'm constantly living in a place of getting freedom for myself and giving freedom to other people.
Man, I love that. That's legacy right there. And, one of my wife and I, we run our businesses together, and I love that concept of legacy. And we like to say, build something worth being known for, leave something worth being remembered for. And what you're doing is awesome. Things that are in the works, it builds the excitement. And I love it. And you're really building that legacy. And I think what's really cool about that as well is that I've been hearing from a lot of older entrepreneurs who've been in the space for a long time, who look at where just America, where our country's at right now, the problems we have problems around the world, and probably 3 different conversations just this past week, I've heard someone say the solution to all that is entrepreneurs who are taking control. They're creating jobs, creating freedom. We hear about there are more jobs coming. Well, when you build a business, you're creating the opportunity. That's why I started a business. Yeah. That's what, what you're doing. So I love that. So before we end, Caleb, you've dropped a ton of knowledge, just so much value because of the space you're in, being 16 and just building an empire. I'm a former youth pastor, youth speaker. That's where I started. So that's close to my heart. I'm passionate about that. I have a 14-year-old daughter and 2 other kids on the way. And I've got young people I mentor. One of my best friends, he's 26. I started mentoring him when he was 15 and homeless. And so I connect with that. What would you say to young people, like, is the core message that you could give them wherever they're at? They're at a low place. They don't believe. You're killing it. And no one handed it to you. No one just said, hey, Caleb, here's a massive opportunity, or here's everything you need. Your dad was grinding 30 some businesses before really building success. He put in work. You guys put in work. You guys were almost homeless. What would you say to that 13, 14, 16, 17-year-old?
Yeah. Well, first off, I understand where you're coming from. And that's the thing. A lot of people think that I had everything handed to me. And that's the furthest from the truth. Yeah. I had a dad who trained me and taught me, but literally, I think it was about 6 years ago, we were or maybe 7 now, we were living in a Sunday school room. We got so low financially, the place where we left where we were living in our apartment and we moved into Sunday school room because that was our only option. So number one, I understand where you're coming from, but here would be my advice to every young person out there. Here would be my advice to every person out there, really. Stop floating. Most people, here's what they do. They float through life. I know it's fun to say. I know it's fun to post on Instagram. I know it's fun to post on Facebook and say YOLO, you only live once. But it is the truth. You only live one time. The fact that we are alive right now is literally the most incredible thing. For your parents to meet, and then for their parents to meet, and then for if you go way back, it's literally the mathematical equation would make it impossible for us to be born. And then for you to be exactly where you are, to where you're sitting here watching this interview, it's the most insane thing ever. We have the craziest opportunity ever called life. And it comes back to what I was saying before. Don't be poor. Do not pass over this opportunity called life. Stop passing over opportunities repeatedly. Do not pass over this opportunity called life. Stop floating through it and take control. Understand that literally today is the first day of the rest of your life. Everything's in the past. Everything that happened before is in the past. Literally, you can be, do, create, become whoever it is and whatever it is that you want by the time you're done with this life. So instead of floating through life, stop floating and start flowing. Start flowing through life. Start flowing with God and with the universe. Flow with your purpose. Flow with your actions. Start doing the things necessary to line you up to where it is that you want to be. And I think that's the problem with so many people is they float instead of flow. They're just floating. They're just whatever happens. Oh, they get fired. They go to this school. Oh, my parents said I need to go to college. They do that. Oh, I got to get a job. They do that. I have to have kids. They literally just float throughout life. They do nothing to take that responsibility and to create what it is that they want. So I encourage you, if you're watching this, create what it is that you want. Stop saying, there's so many things that you say you're going to do. And it comes back to, the famous thing I say, and that's this. The gun that kills the most people is the gunner.
Yeah.
People say, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to start a business and I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to spend time with my family. And they say they're going to so much that they never actually do. So my encouragement would be stop saying you're going to and take that action now. It's like they say, there's 7 days in a week. Someday isn't one of them. All you have is now. And if you don't maximize it now, you're going to end up with a lot of regret. And regret's the worst thing you can have.
Yeah.